Hey, I'm Ron Drotos from keyboardimprov.com, and welcome to our journey through the real book number 234, which is Erik Dolphy's Miss Anne. Miss Anne in the real book. This is volume 1, real book, 6th edition. And just going through one tune. Well, now I'm on 2 tunes a week. I bumped it up a little bit, but generally 1 tune a week. We'll see what happens in the future. 400 tunes. I gave myself roughly an 8-year project. But maybe I'll finish it sooner now that I'm doing 2. We'll see. But the point is that keep going, build momentum, whatever you do with your music. Just keep the thread going. That's how we learn. You know, sometimes we give up if we're not accomplishing a lot right away, right? But you want to keep going, and then you surprise yourself. Like I've surprised myself so many times with these videos. Each of these jazz piano lessons, we're taking a tune in the real book, in this case, Miss Anne, and looking at it from a wider point of view, wider lens than just the notes on the page. Because I'll tell you, look at the notes on the page, you're like, what's going on? It's a C. This is the kind of song that you look at and you say, Erik Dolphy, okay, well, let me try it. And then you just run the other way if you have no context. What's going on here? He has a C7 chord, but then what's going on there? And then an F diminished. And what do these notes have anything to do with F diminished? Whoa. You know, it doesn't make sense on the surface. So where is he coming from? Okay, Erik Dolphy was a great alto saxophonist, one of my favorites. I think one of the most approachable albums he did, if you want to get to know his playing, is on Oliver Nelson's Blues and the Abstract Truth. The tune Stolen Moments is from that. And Dolphy plays a great flute solo. But he played with Charles Mingus. He played with John Coltrane, very high-level playing, and influenced many, many, many musicians. A lot of saxophonists and also pianists like Jerry Allen. She was influenced by Erik Dolphy very, very heavily. Wonderful playing. So where is he coming from with this? Well, this is post-bop, very rooted in Charlie Parker's music, but taking it in a different direction. And that's what a lot of these players did. Ornette Coleman went in one direction, Erik Dolphy went slightly different, and others still different. So what's he doing here? Well, he's superimposing different key centers on the chords like C. And there was an interview with Dolphy, years ago I read it, where he was just described, like for instance, you might say, why would you do that? Why do you need to play a B flat minor triad over a C7 chord? Not necessarily the notes you'd associate with C7 right away. Well, he actually heard these notes. These are the notes he heard. Just like when some of us hear notes in a Mixolydian scale. He's hearing these notes, so it's genuine, it's authentic. This is what Dolphy had to express. He said that in an interview. He said when somebody, I think he said even C7, when he heard a C7 chord, he might hear the notes of an F sharp chord over it. Really interesting. Where did he get that from? Well, it was kind of in the air. People like Mingus were leaning in that direction. It was also in classical music, and these people listen to classical music. Mingus listened to Stravinsky, knew Stravinsky's music inside and out, like The Rite of Spring. I heard he could just like play along with it. He had such a great ear. Dolphy was into classical music too. And I have some inside information for you on Erik Dolphy and this kind of polytonal playing. Dolphy was good friends with a composer and a classical composer and a jazz pianist named Hale Smith, who I studied with in college at the University of Connecticut in the mid-'80s. Hale was very influential on my musical development, pushed me hard, and in a very kind way, I have to say. And Hale, he had the best ear of anybody I've ever met. Unbelievable. And he told me that, and he was friends with Erik Dolphy in the late 50s, early 60s. And he said that they used to work out of Paul Hindemith's Elementary Training for Musicians. Hale knew that book inside and out, and he would help Erik. They'd sort of give him informal lessons to his friend. And they would do Hindemith's exercises. If you don't have it, get Paul Hindemith's Elementary Training for Musicians. It starts out elementary, but it gets really hard. The joke is that it's called elementary, but it's like the hardest book ever written about music. But I think it's the elements of music. It's elementary training. It's things we need to know. And it has rhythm games where you play a simple melody that he writes out and you tap another rhythm. to read the page, and you make exercises for yourself. And one of the things he does is he has you play a chord, like a C chord, and you sing like an E scale over it, you know, or an F sharp, and you really develop your ear like that. And Hale said that he and Eric would work out of the book. And I think that obviously influenced what Erik Dolphy heard in his head. It's maybe a direction he was going in, but it enabled him to do that because he developed his ear in that way. So a couple things I noticed about this piece. I don't know how Eric wrote it. I didn't talk to Hale about that. I don't know if he knew about this particular tune. This is one of my favorite tunes, by the way. I just love it. It sounds melodic. If you listen to Dolphy play it, at first it's a little abstract, and then you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, okay, I get it. It sounds logical. I don't know if this is coincidence or not, but a lot of times, if there's a chord in the piece, like B flat minor 7, in the bars 5 and 6, you see it in another measure. Like for instance, the opening line in the right hand is B flat minor. And then 2 measures later, you get a B flat minor chord. Now, while he's playing the B flat minor chord, he doesn't play stuff in B flat minor in the right hand. He plays stuff that could be seen as F sharp Dorian. Mostly F sharp Dorian, except for, yeah, actually everything is in F sharp Dorian. And then in the next measure, he has an F sharp minor chord. A lot of times you see that kind of thing. Over B7, he has, which could be an F7 lick, and then he has F7 next. It's just kind of interesting. And then I find that starting in the A7, 5 from the end, he actually starts playing things that work more with the chord. So he outlines an A chord, an A7th chord, and then has something that works with E. And then the F diminished and the F sharp minor. So the last 4 measures are well, 5 including the last rest, are very tonally harmonious. And then before that, he's sort of superimposing these different keys. I don't know if it's just coincidence or subconscious that he actually superimposed keys that happen a little later. It's like he wrote out a tune and then just took some of the measures of the melody and moved them to random chords, almost like that. But it totally works and it's fun. I don't know if he thought of it like that or not. I don't know. But here we go. So this is a tune where we have to make some decisions on problem solving on how we're going to play it. It's like Ornette Coleman's tunes. Like, what are we going to do when we play this? How do we do it? Well, does it work to just play our usual voicings in the left hand and superimpose other things over it? Not really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just the melody. And I'm going to get my left hand ready to play this really low note, which is it's a C flat or a B in measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm going to get my left hand ready there. And then I'm going to start with just the right hand because I like hearing just the melody by itself. And then I'm going to bring in just the roots. So I'm playing just the roots. See? Okay? And then go to the F and then the B flat and then take it from there and try some different things. Not sure exactly where it's going to go. A couple of things, oh, I forgot to say. Take out your pencil at some point. And in measure 2, on B, the and of 3, measure 2, the second half of B3, it looks like an F natural, but it's an F sharp. It is consistent because there's an F sharp earlier in the measure, but just put a courtesy accidental there. Otherwise, it looks like you're outlining a B flat minor chord, but it's an F sharp. It goes from A flat to F sharp to D flat. It's not good notation. They should have made it a G flat, but put in an F sharp there. It's the 3rd 8th note from the end of measure 2. And then there's a couple of notes, 2 notes that are incorrect. It's where there's an F7. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the end. The beat 3 should be a B natural, not a C, and beat 4 should be a B flat. So the line goes, okay? It's not C to B, it's B to B flat. So the 6 from the end on the F7 chord goes A flat, G flat, B natural, D flat. Now these are the 2 that are wrong. Make it a B, then B flat, then G flat, A flat. I thought it sounded wrong, and then I checked it with the recording, and it seems like these are the right notes. So have fun. I'm going to start with just the melody, get my left hand prepared to play that low C flat or B. See you on the other end. I got to bring in a lot of the stuff I love from contemporary classical music. Like one of my favorite composers is Anton Webern. He would do these. Things like that. So I brought in some of those textures. The ending kind of just sort of takes some of these, I think I took the F sharp minor at the end, but I took his 3 notes from when he has it earlier in the piece, and I made it like a thing, almost like a Herbie Hancock or Chick Corea kind of thing. And I put the major 7 interval, and, well, it's the 9th of the chord, but from an A, it's that Webern thing again. It's a major 7th at the end. Some other things I did, I love playing the same rhythm in both hands when I'm improvising, like with these polytonal centers, or, you know, kind of outlining some of the regular harmony underneath and superimposing different stuff on top. So I might outline a C7 chord and play an F sharp on top. Things like that. I will say that even though some of this playing was very abstract, I was following the chords in my mind. I might not play them exactly, but I'm sort of following that outline. I'm not getting totally free with this. At least I didn't. You could, or maybe I would at another time. But here I didn't get totally free. Dolphy did play free sometimes. I think he's on Coltrane's album Free Jazz. But a lot of time, you know, he would superimpose things. I think his best playing is with Mingus. Rather than Coltrane. I don't think he was a modal player, although some of the Coltrane stuff's unbelievable, you know. But my favorite playing of his is with Mingus. He's also on some recordings with the Chico Hamilton Quintet. Little known group these days, a little chamber music sound, really wonderful sound from the 50s. They have an album called Gongs East, which his friend, who was my teacher, Hale Smith, arranged 2 pieces. One of them was Long Go and Far Away. I think the other was the folk song, I Gave My Love a Cherry, but the riddle song. But definitely Long Go and Far Away by Jerome Kern. Beautiful arrangement by Hale Smith on Chico Hamilton's Gong East. So that's a little introduction to some ways to play Miss Anne for yourself. Definitely Dolphy's music if you're just getting into it, or if you already know his stuff. Hopefully this helps you understand it even more. Thanks for joining me here. If you'd like to play piano with more of an understanding of music in general, you can check out some of the links I have below. My video course, there's some free stuff there as well. Thanks again, and always enjoy the journey and let the music flow.